If you like these videos, please check out my full course at www.lsat.totaltestprep.net with tons of clearly explained actual LSAT questions written by someone who's mastered test and helped others master it, and an evaluation period where you only pay if you want to continue.
All right, so in this video, we're going to cover the method of reasoning question. So, what is the method of reasoning question? So, standard question, what does the method of reasoning question ask for? So, in other words, how is it phrased? What does it test? And how do we approach it? Okay, in terms of the basic information, so looking at some samples here, it says the phrase in England, lines 30 to 31, does which one of the following? The author discusses the work of scientists in lines 7 through 14, primarily 2. And then the last sample, the author's specific purpose in detailing typical talk story forms, lines 43 to 51, is to, and then etc. etc. So the question will present an element from the test, and ask what its function is, and these are going to be very specific, and you're going to get what lines it refers to. So the question may include the word purpose, but don't get it confused with the primary purpose questions, since you're not being asked for the overall purpose of the passage, but for the purpose of only a part of it. So it's just what is the function, what is the purpose of a particular piece of information. The method of reasoning questions are fairly common, so they appear in questions for virtually every passage, and these questions are by definition specific. You're being asked to evaluate the role that an element plays in an argument in a certain area of the text. Okay. In terms of the question type, these essentially test your ability to analyze the structure of an argument. So you're going to be asked to determine the role that an element plays in a certain part of the text. And these questions are roughly identical to method of reasoning questions in the argument section. So the method of reasoning arguments questions. The major difference is that it's not as obvious what the element is a part of, and you have to look through the text carefully to figure out why the author uses that element. In terms of the basic approach, you need to figure out what part of the text the element is a part of, determine the relationships, and how that part relates to the argument as a whole. So, first, determine what part of the text the question is asking you to analyze, and figure out the nature of the relationships within it and how it relates to the passage as a whole. So, what part of the text, what are the relationships, and how does it relate to the passage as a whole? For the most part, you'll only need to skim the paragraph that contains the element that you're asked to evaluate, and then figure out its role in the overall argument, and then you'll just need to read carefully the immediate information around the element. So find the paragraph that contains it. You're generally speaking, you want to skim through it. What is the overall argument, and then how does it compare, or how does it relate to the immediate information around it? Because generally speaking, the closer the information, the more it's likely that it is to be directly connected. Then you want to come up with a potential function for the element, and then evaluate that against the answer choices. So this is where your evaluation of the structure of the passage as you read through it is going to be very useful. Excuse me. In terms of right answer, wrong answer, the correct answer will most accurately describe the role played by the element in the question, and will correctly identify its relationship to other statements in the immediate area. The incorrect answer will misidentify the role of the element or its relationship to the relevant area of text. So, choice might say that element supports when it refutes, might tie it to information that isn't related to it, etc. Okay, in terms of a quick summary, the basic approach is to have an idea of what the relationships are in the area of the text where the element in the question is found.